Welcome back, rockers and metalheads, to the Friday 13th YouTube channel. Today you're going to be watching an exclusive interview with Nathan James from the band Inglorious. Now, Inglorious are going to be releasing their new album in June, but they've just released their first single. It's called Testify, which is a fantastic single. I'm going to send you a link at the end of this interview so you can check it out. I want to thank Nathan James for doing this interview, and I wish you all the best with the War of the Worlds tour. I also wish to thank Martina from Frontier Records. So, rockers and metalheads, please share this interview. Please leave comments and please subscribe. Thanks for watching. Be safe. Nathan.
Hello.
How are you, my friend?
Very good. How are you?
Yeah, good, bad, thank you. So, thank you, Nathan, for doing this interview. Welcome to Friday 13th YouTube channel. So it's nice speaking to you. So I'm going to ask you some warm-up questions first, my friend. As a singer, who inspired you and how did you become a vocalist? Was that your first choice of learning to be an instrument, or did you play guitar first or drums? What came first?
It was singing, yeah. When I was about 10 years old, I discovered I could sing and I became obsessed with Freddie Mercury. I just loved every note that came out of his mouth. And then when I was about 15 or 16, I discovered Glenn Hughes and David Coverdale, Robert Plant, Dio, all the great classic rock singers. And yeah, I started listening to that stuff from young, really. And that's kind of what gave me my main taste in vocals. But then I developed that with a singing teacher who I've had now for the same singing teacher for nearly 20 years.
Well, you're still having lessons yourself, and you still...
Yeah, I still see
Okay.
her, I still speak to her every week. She's amazing. She's basically the woman that's built my voice, I suppose.
That's awesome. So was anybody in your family, any singers, guitarists, drummers growing up?
There's no one musical in my entire family, um, which is weird. So like, yeah, I think my dad has a nice tone, like when he sings, but he never sung really, and none of my brothers or sisters are musical. Let's say I'm not going to say they can't sing, but they're not musical.
So, but
Nice.
yeah, so you know nobody in your family was actually singers or anything. So it was just rock music. Was it rock music your first love?
Yeah, Queen really were my first love, and then I also listened to lots of pop music when I was a kid and theatre, musical theatre, which has made sense because then I went on to do the Andrew Lloyd Webber TV show years ago. So yeah, I just like singing. I like singing high. That was always my thing.
Right. So what was your very first band you was in? Can you remember what were they called?
My first band I was in, not until later on, not until I was 20, 21. A band called Freaky Deaky that never released anything.
Right. Okay.
Um, but yeah, we had an album written for us. It was all very, very weird, like a London band. There's some pictures somewhere. Yeah, crazy.
Is there anything
It's
on
so weird to
YouTube?
think
Anything
back.
on YouTube?
No, luckily not.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah,
So your first band was Freaky. What did you say?
Freaky Deaky. That was
Freaky
the
Deaky. Who
first
came
band.
up with that bloody name? It's kind of...
I can't remember. I actually can't remember, but we ended up doing nothing.
No.
Um, it was a bloke in London who put us together. It's all very odd. That
Yeah.
whole time I wasn't really in the scene then. It was before I'd done television and before I'd been in the Trans-Siberian Orchestra, etc. So
I was going
uh,
to talk to you
it,
about Trans-Siberian now because I know Chris Caffrey is a friend of mine. I didn't even actually know you was actually in the band.
yeah, I was in the band for 3.5, 4 years.
So how many albums did you
Um,
record with them? Was it just live? Was you just doing like backing
just
vocals?
live. This situation with the live. There's two bands, so I was on the West Coast, um, and I did 3 US arena tours and a UK Europe tour, and I did Varken with them.
That was a big one. I
Um,
mean, they're a massive band, aren't they? People don't realize how big they are.
yeah, they're huge. They headlined Varken. I mean, it's crazy, really. Um, but yeah, that was great. But I left the band at the time because I was very young. I was 27 or 28 when I left, and I wanted to concentrate on Inglorious, which is what I did, right, for the last 8, 9 years. So
I mean, you guys formed in 2014, I believe. Inglorious, who came up with the name? Was it anything to do with watching the film Inglorious Bastards or?
A little bit, yeah.
Right, okay.
And it was me. I came up with the name. I had loads. When you think back to finding a name, it took me 6 months to settle on a name. Um, but now looking at it behind you, I am glad. I'm really proud of it. I think it's still a good name. It's still something I'm proud of.
Wow. So how did you develop your music? Did you know you was going to be playing this style of music, hard rock, or did it take a while to get the music vibe going?
No, I knew it was going to be the stuff that I like listening to, right? So the early albums, especially, I loved Deep Purple, White Snake, clearly, Led Zeppelin, all that stuff. I wanted it to have that classic rock feel. And initially, I wanted it to be more 70s and kind of throwback vintage. At the time, I was listening to one of the first Rival Sons albums, Pressure in Time, maybe.
Yeah, I saw them with
And
Judas Priest many years
they're
ago.
a fantastic band, but I just loved that they harked back to the 70s. And it was it was cool. It was awesome.
So how did you hook up with Frontier Records? How did you hook up with those? What the labels approached you back in the day?
I had a couple of meetings. I'm not going to say with who,
Yeah, yeah.
but Frontiers came with the best and longest deal, right? They came with a 5 album deal, and they were willing to put their money where their mouth was. They flew over to London to see me at a showcase with the band, and yeah, this is God. How long have I been with them? Nearly 10 years. So it's it's quite a long relationship. It's the longest relationship I've ever had.
So looking back at your first album, how excited was you to be recording that album? What good memories did you have in the studio?
We all lived in the studio. We all had absolutely no money. Um, Recording the first album, we didn't actually realize that we were making the album. We thought we were recording demos, and then the recording sounded so good that we were like, actually, this is going to be the album. So that's what became the first Inglorious record. Was like half our demos. Then halfway through the process, we went, maybe this has got something. Maybe we should just make this the album. So that's what we did.
So what sort of reaction did you get from the press and the fans as it was debut release? Did you get a good response?
It was amazing, yeah. That whole first year, I think we had 4 playlisted singles from Planet Rock on off that one album. We were on the playlist consecutively for something like nearly 6 months, I think. It was such a long time. And yeah, it was great. The hype was amazing. We managed to get on a couple of cool tours. We did the Steel Panther tour and
How was it
the
playing with
winery.
those guys, Tom and Steel Panther? Do you have a lot? It must have been fun.
It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of amazing memories. We did a big, extensive European tour with them, and it was crazy. Everyone thinks it's an act, but it's not. They are a lot of fun and also incredible musicians, right?
Yeah, I mean, I
Like,
saw I saw Satchel when he was in Fight with Rob Alford when he used to come
oh yeah,
Ross many years ago.
yeah.
So I know where you're coming
He,
from, but I mean, for you, it must have been like touring with either Spinal Tap or Bad News.
yeah. No, it was crazy, but it was a great experience, and I don't think now I could do that kind of crazy level of touring. Like it
Right.
was, yeah, it was so intense. And their crowds were amazing. The shows were great.
I bet you was pretty nervous to do that tour, considering their reputation. You bet you're thinking, "Oh God, are the crowd going to like us, or are we going to get bottles thrown at us?"
No, I thought I'm the only bands that kind of, I think some of the bands that have opened them have been bottled before, but we were kind of a good fit, I think, for them. We were kind of fun, and it was very energetic because it was only a 30-minute set. We could go all out for 30 minutes, you know.
Yeah.
Um, so that's kind of what we did, and it paid off. It was a great tour.
So the second album, Inglorious II, why did you decide to call it Two, not a title?
Um, because that's what like a lot of my heroes did with their albums, right?
Right.
He's again harking back to that 70s thing, the Zeppelin thing. Um, it just made sense. There was nothing on the album that I thought was a the singles that were on there. I didn't like them as titles for the album.
Okay.
Um, Like the big single off that second album was "I Don't Need Your Loving," which I don't think is a great title for an album, but yeah, it all worked out well. Again, we had some great success on Planet Rock with that, and lots and lots of touring, loads of touring.
I mean, the next album you did in 2019, Ride to Nowhere, great album. Would
Yeah,
you say that's one of your favourite albums? Would you say it's one of your favourite albums you've done?
my favorite album. I don't know. I like them all for different reasons. Ride to Nowhere was one that was difficult. It was the one that performed the kind of least from a chart point of view, and the process of making that album was quite tricky. The songs didn't come together as easily as before, and yeah, we recorded it in the same place, Parr Street in Liverpool, which was amazing, great place. But just yeah, that process was not as easy as previously.
No, I mean, there's a fantastic song on there, Eye of the Storm. You sing that song so well.
Thank you. Yeah, I love that. I love that song. I co-wrote it with Colin, the bass player, and a friend of mine actually called Tim, who is now a kind of country artist, but he's an incredible co-writer.
When I listen to that song, I just immediately think of Glenn Hughes, your voice. I mean, Glenn Hughes is definitely the voice of rock, no doubt about it.
Yeah, I still agree that Glenn is the voice of rock. He liked a video of me singing on Instagram last night, and whenever he does it often, like videos of me or comment, and I still get butterflies when I see his name pop up. He's to have his kind of seal of approval is amazing.
When I used to see Glenn Hughes quite regularly, I interviewed him a few years ago. He always used to call me his Yorkshire chum. Every time he met me, he'd say, "Now then, me Yorkshire chum, how are you doing?"
He's very friendly. He actually tried on my shoes. I sung with him in where was that? At the Robin 2.
Right.
He asked me to go and sing Burn with him, and I did. And while we were backstage for the show, we shared the same shoe size, and he was like, "I love those boots." And I said, "Do you want to try them on?" And he went, "Yeah." And he tried my boots.
He never got them back.
Yeah, they look great on him. He's a very stylish man.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a hell of a voice. I mean, I watched him once sound checking without a microphone. It's like, holy shit. Really, really
Incredible.
powerful. You ever thought of touring with him? Because he's touring soon, isn't he? He's doing some tours. Have you and Inglorious talked about doing the tour with him?
That would be amazing. It's difficult, right? It's time, and
Mm.
we haven't been asked. Also, you kind of there's like lots of things you kind of want to. Your label will want you to kind of take someone out that's on the same label as you,
To
maybe.
save money,
Your
I guess.
your agent might say, "Oh, we want you to take someone from our agency," or so. There's all sorts of politics. That's what this business is, really. So
No.
that would be a dream tour though. To open for Glenn would be
Oh God, yeah,
amazing.
it'd be amazing. Absolutely. I mean, the next song you did, "We Will Ride" in 2012, sorry, 2021. How successful was that for you, considering you said "Ride to Nowhere" was a bit of a hard album to record? And
It was great. It was definitely successful. We smashed the songs. It was a new lineup, recording pretty much entirely, three new guys, and they did a great job. They brought some incredible songs to the album, and the playing on it's amazing. Also, it's the first time we worked with a proper producer.
right,
All the albums before then were produced by the band. Um, we worked with a guy, Romesh Dodangoda, who's done loads and loads of bands. So yeah, it was different, but it was awesome. And we also made it in COVID, which made it quite tricky.
yeah, yeah. So
So
you
kind of
recorded from each of the studios.
socially distanced in the studio, so we weren't allowed to too many of us be in a room at the same time. Had to be in separate rooms when we were doing stuff. So yeah, it was a difficult time, but the album sounds amazing, and I can see the artwork behind you, and I'm still
Yeah,
proud of the artwork.
yeah.
It's incredible.
So, I mean, was it recorded at the same studio technically, even though you were
Yeah,
distanced?
it was. We just couldn't stand near each other, or too many of us couldn't be in the rooms at the same time.
So, I mean, when you said your producer, for those that people don't know, who did you work with other than you guys?
Well, I said the guy Romesh Dodangoda,
Yeah, yeah.
um, who produced that record, and then it was just the one record. He was amazing. I loved the sound of the record. It was kind of very fresh, very modern sound that I thought if we were going to come back and do something after Ride to Nowhere, it had to be different. And it was, because of the playing and because of Romesh's input and the way it sounded, it was just so fresh and modern.
Who's he
And
worked with? Who's he worked with, Nathan, other than you guys?
he's worked with loads of bands. Bring Me the Horizon,
Oh yeah.
uh, kind of big. The Nova Twins are a new band that are out. Two girls, incredible. Lots of big kind of cool bands. I think Kids in Glass Houses and lots of indie bands and lots of heavy metal bands. And yeah, he's just great. I know he's done some stuff with Those Damn Crows. He's done a bit with, what's that incredible band? Welsh lads. He's in Wales, so lots of Welsh bands have worked with him.
You're not thinking of Bullet for My Valentine, are you? Is it one of those?
Yeah, I think he's worked with them.
Right.
Bullet, and there's one more singer. Oh, it's totally gone from my mind. They're a younger band, but they're kind of on the scene as well. Have I forgot their name?
It'll come to you
Anyway,
when you leave here. You probably tell me next
yeah,
Friday when you
well,
see me.
yeah,
So you've just released your new single, Testify. When's the album actually going to come out, please?
it'll be out in June.
Right. Is it called Testify?
No,
Nobody knows what the title's called yet. So could you
no,
enlighten
you'll
us?
find out. You'll find out in a couple of weeks.
Keeping it all hush hush. So how many songs is
Yeah,
going to be on this album? Are you allowed to tell me what the song titles are?
there's 10 songs,
Yeah.
and we've got a few more singles to go before the album comes out. So
Okay.
we've got a single called Devil Inside. We've got a single called Stand, and what else was there that I can say? Um, I'm not going to tell you anymore, but they're coming, and I think if people enjoyed the first single, they're going to enjoy the next few as well.
Right. So what sort of response have you been getting from this single so far on YouTube and like messages on Facebook, etc.?
Really positive. Everyone loves it. Everyone says that everyone in the band sounds great. It's nice to have Colin back, hearing his bass sound again. It's nice to have those kind of big anthemic choruses, which we love writing. Stuff that myself and Colin are really good at writing together. So yeah, it's been great. We had a good amount of views on the YouTube video, and it's on Planet Rock's playlist now for the fourth week in a row. So
So when's it going to be released, the album?
June.
June. No date yet.
I'm not telling you the date.
I mean, I've been looking at your lineup. I mean, you've got quite an extreme guitarist in your band, the Richard Shaw, Cradle of Filth. How the hell did you hook up with him?
Well, Richard's an incredible all-rounded musician. I think when you're in a band like Cradle,
Yeah.
people assume that you're just like, I don't know,
Extreme
just
guitarist.
yeah, and
Yeah.
he's not. He's an incredible guitar teacher. He does a lot for the Lick Library and etc. He's a very versatile musician and also just a lovely guy.
Yeah.
And I've known him for a while. And when it came about that I needed one guitar player, I thought he could do everything. So yeah, I went up and plucked the courage up to ask him, and he was well up for it. So yeah, it's good.
Did you have any other guitarists in mind other than Richard?
We spoke to a couple, but they didn't work out for whatever reason. I did more logistics. A couple of the guys we were speaking to were in America, Sweden, Finland, and I just don't. If you're going to tour for logistics now in a post-COVID world, you need to all be in the same country.
Yeah. And Brexit doesn't help either.
No.
Definitely not. So, I mean, you've also got Henry on drums. I mean, Henry used to play drums in my Mostly Autumn.
Oh yeah, he's
Yeah.
still playing with me.
Does it? Because because I studied music at college in Hull, and my keyboard lecturer was the keyboard player, Ian Jennings.
Oh, cool.
So it's like,
Yeah,
I ain't seen Ian for
I think
years.
I think he's gigging with them this week today. Yeah, he's in. I want to say Europe, Germany, maybe.
So how long has
Um,
he been in the band then, Henry? Has he been in the band for some time or quite recent?
just since like this time last year,
Right.
I suppose. I asked him, and then we recorded the album at his studio.
Okay.
Yeah.
So are you looking forward to touring and getting out on the tour this year sometime?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to June, and then we've got Steelhouse Festival in July,
That's in
the day
Wales, I
after my
believe. Is
birthday.
that Wales?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then see how the album is received, and then we want to do some more dates,
So how do you
obviously.
see this album as a progression from the previous albums? Even though you can't say
Um,
too much at the minute.
it's sonically different because we've only got one guitar player.
Yeah.
It's the first Inglorious one album with one guitar player. It's also, I think, different. It's been produced by Colin, so he has his own kind of sound, which he's brought to this record, which is incredible. It sounds like old Inglorious stuff because he's there, but it also sounds new because he's produced it.
Right.
Um, and I think people are going to love the tracks. There's 10 tracks, and there's a big epic. Uh, we kind of, on every album, we pick a song that's like a big epic. And the last one of this album is vocally like the proudest I've been of a vocal on an Inglorious album. It's really emotive, and it's kind of got a cool story behind it. I think Colin kind of wrote it initially about like maybe a situation in when he was in Inglorious before. So me singing it now takes on kind of a new meaning, and it's the recording process. I remember being in the studio and being exhausted because I was just like, "Well, this is deep." It's really, and it felt weird singing it opposite Colin, who probably wrote the song. Um, yeah, about about a situation that I also feel. So we kind of connected through that song, and I think he's happy with my vocal, and I'm really happy with everything he's done on this record. He's absolutely smashed it.
Wow. So who did the artwork for the album? Who's done the
The
artwork?
artwork was done by Mike Innes, who is amazing. He did the artwork for a couple of our other previous works, and he's just phenomenal. Great guy. Um, and I love what he's done. It's really cool. It's the female. If you move your head slightly, they'll be able to see it.
Yeah, there you go.
They-
It's
yeah, it
kind of
felt
got
like
that Cradle of Full vibe, hasn't it?
yeah, it looks. And we wanted something that's like um, a bit more conceptual. So it's about woman. It's about creation. It's about the future. It's about all those things that we're excited about, and I'm excited about the future of this record and also the future of the band.
Right, okay, so just moving on then. So I'm going to ask you a little bit about War of the Worlds. How excited are you to be doing this? How long is it going to last?
Very. I think I'm on tour for the next 5 weeks. Let me look. One, no, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, like 4 weeks.
Is this in the UK only? Or are you going abroad with it as well?
We're doing 2 shows abroad. We're doing Germany and Rotterdam.
Right, okay.
Rotterdam. And yeah, I'm buzzing. We start in Hull on Friday, and then all over. We end the UK tour at the O2, 2 shows in Europe, and then I go back to the United States for 2 shows, and then I come back to the UK, and then I'm here for the summer mostly.
Is it a massive production then? Obviously, by the sounds of what people are telling me.
Almost.
So
Yeah,
what's your
when you
part?
see it
What's
at
your part
Hull,
then? What do you play, Nathan? What's your part in this?
I'm the
How many
voice of
vocals?
humanity,
Right, okay.
and it's the song Thunderchild for anyone who knows the album. And the cool the cool thing about this is for me is that this is my third tour, and very few people get to do 3 tours. So I feel really honored that Jeff entrusted me once more to do a tour, because it's like, yeah, I think the only other people to do 3 tours is Justin Hayward, who was on the original album, and Jason Donovan. So now it's me, Justin, and Jason that are the only people to have ever done three of the tours, which is such an honor. Like,
So,
it's so cool.
so you're not going to be wearing the multicolored coat like Jason Donovan?
No, not this time.
Okay, then. So I'm looking forward to seeing you next week in Hull. It's going to be a great show. I'm going to ask you a little bit about this project now, Iconic. What's happening with these guys? It was a one-off. Is it a one-off? Are you going to do any more? Have you talked to Michael Sweet, and anybody else to do another album?
We're in constant like conversation, but I think it's more about diaries. I know there's demos that we've all heard, but it's finding time to get everyone available, right? These are all
Yeah,
we're all very busy individuals, so to come together to make a record is not tricky, but it's it's just logistically difficult to get us all in a room at the same time to make a video or a photo shoot. Or so there's demos. I don't know what else I can say. But the plan when we did the first album was to do a second album.
right. Did you do any touring, or was it just album? That was it.
It was just the album again. When you have that many names in a band like
Yeah,
them, not me,
yeah,
they're all busy, right? Marco Mendoza's, I think, on doing a tour with Steve Vai at the minute, and Satriani and Glenn Hughes. I think I saw him in rehearsals with the other day.
yeah. Right.
He's busy. Joel's busy. Um, so yeah, it's difficult. Michael Sweet's one of the busiest men in metal. I think he's always doing something.
How honoured was you to do when they asked you to do this? How static was the? Oh my God, Michael Sweet
It
and
was
Tommy
amazing.
Aldridge and
It was amazing. It was kind of crazy because the label kind of built the band around me, which was so cool. And they said to me, "Who would you like on it?" And I actually said Marco and Tommy would be my dream. At this point, I'd already had Joel and Michael confirmed. And they came back and they were like, "Yeah, we got Marco and Tommy." And I was like, "What?" They said yes. It's crazy. It's so humbling, and the record's great for anyone that likes Whitesnake, especially. It's definitely got that kind of flair to it, and to hear all those legends on an album together is pretty special.
what's your favourite songs from that album? Do you have any favourites?
The duet with Michael Sweet, which is called "Run Fast as You Can," um, is so cool. Like to hear me like with him, harmonizing with him, and that's just like unbelievable. If you would have told me that would happen 20 years ago, I would have said no way. You know.
Do you have any dreams of like musicians you'd like to play with, tour with? Anybody like you think, oh, I could really do a duet with this guy or this female artist?
Yeah, there's lots. I like the big stage productions, right? So I love being in Trans-Siberian Orchestra. I love being in the War of the Worlds. I love any of those kind of things. So something like Avantasia would really suit me. I'd I'd love to sing for Tobias Sammet. I think I'd be a great fit. And yeah, big productions like that, I find them the most fun. And this year, well, for like the last 10 years, my majority of my shows have been like arena or orchestral.
Yeah.
And I love that. I love the like orchestra rock thing. So yeah, anything in that kind of symphonic genre is good for me.
Well, Nathan, I'd like to thank you for doing this interview. I wish you all the best, and I'll see you next Friday. Do you have anything to say to the people watching this on YouTube?
Just check the single out, check all the singles out, and I hope you enjoy it. It's to be enjoyed, and it's a lot of fun. So just go and listen to it loud.
Brilliant. Thank you, Nathan. And when this interview is online, would you be kind enough to share it for me if I send you the link on Facebook?
No problem.
Nathan, I will see you next Friday. Enjoy your weekend.
Cheers, buddy. Bye.
Cheers, mate. Take care. Thank you. Bye bye.